The first philosopher is Adam Smith. He is most well known as the father of economics. He is also known for his explanation of how rational self-interest in a free market economy leads to economic well-being. Even though he supported individualism but opposed mercantilism, his first major works concentrated on charity. Smith developed an unusual version of moral sentimentalism in his theory of moral sentiments. Adam Smith maps out common life and corrects it from within rather than trying to criticize it or change it from an outside perspective. He aims to break down the differences between theoretical and ordinary thought. This idea of Smith's is not unconnected from his self and political interests in his eyes, as ordinary individuals are guaranteed natural liberty, so it acts swiftly with their own judgment. For Smith, individual liberty is a key factor in sustaining social order and property. Jeremy Bentham is the next philosopher. He is well known today for his moral philosophy, especially for the term utilitarianism, which is a concept that evaluates actions due to their consequences. This concept is basically the act of trying to increase happiness and reduce suffering. Jeremy Bentham also developed an ethical theory that states all knowledge is derived from sense experience along with human nature. He argues that what solely motivates us is pleasure and pain, and you must experience pleasure and no pain at all in order to ensure happiness as a result. Even though Bentham did not really practice law throughout his lifetime, he spent a majority amount of his time critiquing the natural accounts of law and developing an early form of what is now legal positivism. The next philosopher is Thomas Malthus. His main contribution was to highlight the relationship between food supply and population. He stated that humans do not overpopulate to the point of starvation, only that people change their economic incentives. He wrote an essay on the principle of population, which inspired his fellow economists. He predicted that the rise in marriage, birth rates, and decrease in deaths caused a rise in population. David Ricardo was a very successful philosopher. He wrote The Influence of a Low Price of Corn on the Profits of Stock, that explains that if more labor and machinery are used on a fixed amount of land, the additions to output will diminish. He wrote that the England's inflation was the result of Bank of England's inclination to issue excess banknotes. He believed that a country that trades for products it can get at a lower cost from another country is better off than if it had made the products at home. The next philosopher is Karl Marx. He published a book called The Communist Manifesto, which introduced our concept of socialism as a result of the conflicts inherited from the capitalist system. Marx's economic analysis of capitalism includes the analysis of capitalist profit as a removal of surplus value from the utilized proletariat. Marx predicted the inevitable economic breakdown of capitalism. Alienation from product activity, irrelevant production, and then from other human beings is all what Marx had thought that caused the capitalism breakdown. The next philosopher is Robert Owen. He coined socialism in 1827. Robert Owen's political and economic theory of social organization caused him to believe that trade should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Last but not least is John Stuart Mill. John Stuart Mill basically had a liberal political view of society. His major contribution was to support the progress of human knowledge. John Stuart Mill gave a new depth to Jeremy Bentham's utilitarianism. Among his other beliefs, he also supported human nature being a big push on the human beings of society.